Okay. Well, I thought I'd do another brief work session evening stream. I am practicing and getting, uh, you know, a lot of refinement and exploration in my personal stream setup. I do a bit of streaming in collaboration with Jersey Drozd of leanintoart.com, and we have a Twitch account that goes with Lean Into Art, called that name, and that's yeah. So I have been streaming for over a year now, but not a lot on my channel, and I think it looks like fun, and I'm interested in exploring and practicing and seeing what works. One of the puzzles I have is the schedule, due to just sort of the shape of my life commitments and whatnot. It's not trivial to do a lot of daytime scheduled things with like family care, and pandemic, kids school, what have you, all these things changing daily practically, but and a bit of that chaos sprinkled in. Okay, if I picked a schedule, I would be changing it a lot. Yet I that's why I'm showing up and practicing to see and experiment. Well, let's test that assumption and find out what will work eventually. I know something will work. Lean Into Art has a lot of stable appearance in its schedule and whatnot, but that takes a lot of infrastructure on my side too. So, well, we'll see. What I'm practicing this evening, I have a few different topics I wrote on my whiteboard. I wonder if that should be the article I read. I'll make that one of the articles I read, just because um, working in rooms that have the space to write on the wall and think stuff through and whatnot. It's I don't, I'm sure it sounds silly, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't like the smell of dry eraser markers and stuff, but like the ability to um, be that kind of listening, reflecting, collective, and take turns in adding to this shared set of ideas in this collective canvas. I love it. I absolutely love it. And even though this is just in my office, at my house and all that, yeah, it's wonderful. I enjoy this tool a lot. I got it off of one of the few successful Craigslist transactions I ever was a part of. So that's a story for another time. But let's see. Yeah, the showing up, the schedule, the practice, all that. This is a mix of things that I'm testing right now. I've been, working to have like a usable, fun, interesting, entertaining stream presence thing. Takes a little bit of practice and tweaking. Um, you know, Not mandatory. You can just show up and share a screen. You can, you know, do all kinds of things that the hurdles are low, but it's as soon as you start thinking like, well, how did this person do this and how did this person do that, and think of the audio and the video. Well, there's a lot that can go into it. So hence my experimenting, and I should have chat integrated depending on which scene I'm showing here. So if you throw something in the chat, it should just boop appear in the video, like you're potentially a character in this video. Okay, so a few things I wrote on my whiteboard that I could explore as topics, and I landed on I'm going to do some reading. I have a video game that I'm working on called Guitar Fretter. You can learn more about that by going to guitarfretter.com. And, that's all about making an action, fun puzzle experience out of memorizing the notes on a guitar fretboard. So that's, it's been around a good while, and I've been updating and tweaking it over like a number of years now. And I'm putting a lot of work in updating its look and feel, and adding adding more features and paving the way to make that happen more frequently than I have in past years. So this is it's a big update. Plus, I'm splitting it into the paid version, which will have a price increase, and then a free version, which I have a price going flat to nothing. So you'll get to play Guitar Fretter, whatever your budget, and the paid version is not going up that much in price, but a little bit to work toward the sustainability and flexibility, the meaningfulness of putting it on sale and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I could do some art, could do some coding. I've got some music experiment ideas, but that's not as pressing, right? The stuff higher on this list is way more pressing for me to do. In my work session, which this is the placeholder name of the show, is the Show Up to Create and Play show. I actually have a classic game system connected to my streaming setup too, the old TurboGrafx 16, and a few games right here close at hand that who knows? I could rotate those in at any time. A couple of my favorites being Devil's Crush and Bomberman, both just delightful breaks to take. So we'll see where that goes. But this is not going to be that long of a stream. So without, too much puttering around, I am going to, let's see. I see some stuff in the chat, and I don't know if it appeared and went away or whatnot. But okay, cool. Thanks for being here. Someone is talking about some cheese. Okay, that's cool. All right, cheese is nice. But let's see what that cheese thinks of some articles from my blog. So what I have is, let's go to this view. At interactive-storyteller.com, I've been blogging. I've actually started blogging because I was making a webcomic right around 2008 to 2012 or so. And that was at artgeekzoo.com. And that was a comic. What's funny is a couple of those characters made it into the video game Guitar Fretter. And that's, thematically interesting. The main character is a penguin who has sort of stage fright and is afraid to really tap into his creative voice. And his friend is a really sort of rough, grumpy, but caring mystical guitar named Crunchy, who they're friends, and they work together and they go on adventures, form a band, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, anyway, Guitar Fretter is out there. You can still read it, or not. Art Geek Zoo is still out there. Guitar Fretter is too. That's the game. Art Geek Zoo is the comic. And anyway, so I've been blogging for a long time, and this lately has, for a number of years, been hosted at interactive-storyteller.com for just more written articles, posting art, things like that, getting outside the comic posting pattern for the most part. And I have a podcast I host here also called The Polytechnicast. And that started because of Art Geek Zoo and saying, well, it's interesting to share behind the scenes stuff. What's it like, the experience and the, ideas going into it and the learning and and sharing that whole journey. Anyway, Polytechnicast continues. And that I actually just, May 8th, put out a new episode. And that, that's also at interactive-storyteller.com. But I was thinking that it might be interesting. I'm going to go to my archive and find my article about my dry erase board. So if I go to the blog articles archive and let's see, do a search. let's see, I got my keyboard trapped on one computer. So I'm using this app called Barrier, and it lets me just pop back and forth between my different machines with the same keyboard and mouse. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong thing by accident. Let's do that again. So I'm going to go here and do a search and look for the word awesome. Big surface, dry erase board / whiteboards. Why are they so awesome? Why? Well, let's find out. Okay. Every encounter ever, let's start again. How about that? Why are dry erase boards so awesome? Ever encounter metaphors and comparisons like something is the Uber for this situation or is so Inception for that? 2014 was a high point for those, I'd bet. The Inception movie comparison aging better than the Uber ones. Looking at you, ethical business practices. Editorial comment. This post is the Uber of Inceptions for why I like dry erase boards so much. Still with me? I should put a content warning before doing those kind of jokes. Here's a video of me using my dry erase / whiteboard to explore the question, why are they so awesome? I'll play this just for a little bit so you see this sped up video in action. It's like 2 minutes long. And this is one of the things I love to do at a dry erase board, which is to sort of unpack an idea, ask a question, delve into it further, and wonder wonder about the question, take angles, delve into it, doodle along the way, and answer questions with a variety of forms of kinds of answers. And then what happens is this large canvas gets filled with a bunch of ideas, and they can be juxtaposed with things that are harmonious and things that aren't. And all of a sudden it creates a whole lot of ideas and perspective in one large space that is sort of its own kind of thing that then gives me ideas to further consider and move ahead with. But really, I asked myself this question. I did this sort of session at the large surface, and then wrote an article about it because of what I found out as I asked myself and explored. Okay, so you can see that's the gist of what happens with the sped up video, but you get to see the exact process play out with that. And of course in case it's because I didn't mention it, so why would I assume and say of course, other than odd verbal tick. But this video is on my YouTube channel, which is also Rob Stenzinger. Just do a search for that and you'll find the video, or go to my blog. You saw how we got here. Back to the article. Focusing on individual use of dry erase boards. As a large device, dry erase boards are useful in group collaboration. A lot of us encounter large drawing surfaces in meeting rooms and team spaces. For me, I've practiced different roles to help groups. Scribe, who captures the ideas of all present. I am your pen for words and sketches of ideas. Facilitator, helping amplify and connect group voices, intentions, and navigating a creative process for designs, workshops, and decisions. Group note-taking is a different focus than what I had for this exploration. I think the exploration might have useful insights for groups too, but that's a different topic. The big deal is the big space. The uninterrupted bigness is what makes a large dry erase board something special. It's different than patching together paper sheets or covering the same space with sticky notes. Both of those techniques are useful, but for me, don't evoke the magical combination of space and time. The magical feeling combination of space and time. In comics, the bigger a panel, the more time is a factor. The rhythm of reading changes when you go from panels with less space juxtaposed then encounter a wide or tall panel. The space takes more time to explore visually. With more space comes more time to read what's there. Also, the effort it takes to put ideas in that space. A large dry erase board takes time to fill with ideas. When you encounter your ideas, question them, explore, observe. You can capture words and images along the way. Write and stand back. Draw and consider. Annotate a connecting idea or relationship between things. What emerges is a layered set of ideas. I think what can make those layers do useful things is along the way ask, is there a quick doodle that can help get more specific or more fun? Is what I'm about to write next a new kind of thing, or is it part of something already there? Should what I'm about to write next be near or far from these different things already on the board? It's not just the space, it's what you do with the time you spend in the space. A large surface. Okay. Excuse me for taking a pause here. Looking at the chat, there's more comment about cheese. And I don't want to say what kind of cheese. Am I like jinxing myself by naming this cheese? It sounds a little bit, keyword magical suspect here. So I wish you luck with your cheese. Back to the article. Again, it's not just the space, it's what you spend in the space and time. Sorry, excuse me. A large surface gives you the canvas. When you invest time into a process of questioning, observing, noting, you encounter your ideas in a large enough space to question, dig deeper with each idea, visualize, and make connections. And that's it. That's the point. It's encountering your own ideas in collective form. And that's even as an individual. I love using this kind of surface in groups, as I mentioned in the article, but then, it's just a really neat, interesting tool. Again, you can get there other ways too. They're also pretty great. I didn't write a sort of love letter blog post to sticky notes or paper, but I could, right? I mean, if you use paper and painter's tape, you can cover a whole wall pretty fast with like all kinds of ideas, and then take it and move it around and that stuff. Or of course, sticky notes are built for that, right? Someday, I mean, honestly, I would totally take sponsorship from a company who made such materials. Okay, so that was a fun article to go back and revisit. I have a whole bunch of articles from this year because I did a 100-day, what turned out, I changed it to be 100 days, creative challenge to write one article every day and post it on my blog. And it was a lot of fun, but I read in the prior stream a couple days ago, was it yesterday? Nope, 2 days ago. What was an article exploring, the 100 days thing. I'll talk about the other angle on that. That'll be the second article I read. Some days I'll be doing this. going back and just sharing some things. It's where I'm based. It's kind of later in the day. I'm not looking at getting all fired up and jamming. Maybe sometimes I'll do a late night, thrash session, take a guitar off the wall, what have you, play around with music. But yeah, these late sessions, I think, could be what ends up being my regular recurring timing. We'll see. But if it does, it's probably going to be about, sharing work, doing this sort of reading performance of prior posts that I wrote and all that, and mixed in with a little bit of sketching, maybe some coding too. We'll see. Okay, so now let's go back to the archive. The list of articles is a fine link that gives a more visual thumbnail group of articles, but the big list, the one that you can find stuff extra fast. I mean, you can use search, but this is the big list, and it's not as neat with thumbnails and stuff, but it's complete, right? Trade-offs. So let's say we want. Remember that article had the word learning. Oh, and there we go. It was early April, probably the 1st, 2021. Ha! Funny. April 1st, on April Fool's Day, which, brief story. You know what? I'm going to go grab something off the shelf. I'll be super duper right back. I'm going to play a little music. And I'm going to be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, April 1st of this year, a dear friend of mine shared something with me on a social network that, let's say, is a prank decades in the making. It's I should look it up. I should share the resource or whatnot, but I'm going to be so brief. So I get an article that talks about this iteration on a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, and it is called Spelljammer. This box has seen things. It's been around a long time, and as has this box. So that box is the Legend of Spelljammer, and here we go. The AD&D Adventures in Space core rules for, well, second edition of anyway, how you can do magic in space, right? So you've got this maybe at best early steampunkish kind of technology, but it's very magic infused, with an explanation of how could you go on adventures in space with this, and it just, I don't know, it's still pretty arresting and fascinating to me, but I never really got a lot of my friends to go along with it. And one of those friends sent me this link about how they're going to release a thing, a new kit, and they called it Plane Jammer. mixing Planescape with Spelljammer. I assume it was part of the joke, and I didn't think it was a joke at first. I'm like, oh, I'm so curious that I'm totally putting this on my radar. Oh, I can't wait. This is totally meant for me. And then, oh, it's April 1st. Curse it. Curse it. Curse my friend. Curse everything. I really did want this to exist. Maybe it still will. But anyway, that's my Spelljammer story. Mentioned because of the coincidence of this article being published April 1st of this year, 2021. Let's go to it. So let's do this view again. And here is the article. It is called Don't Punish Learning, Reward Learning as a Principle. "100 days of daily blogging. I'm revising my goal of posting a blog article every single day of 2021. 10 more posts until 100. Well, 9 after this one. Then I'm switching gears to once a week with the option to do more as works and feels right. A principle. I take a lot of notes, and I journal too. Journal about making things, looking for stuff that works for me and when I'm working with others. Once in a while, I land on an idea that really sticks. One of those stick with me things is a principle I work with. Don't punish learning. Saying it in the positive works too, but misses a little of the reason for the principle. Reward learning. How about connecting the two to cover a wide set of circumstance? Don't punish learning, reward learning. We've all likely worked in situations where learning was unwelcome. Sounds odd to say. If you haven't had that experience, nice work. UX, user experience design, editorial comment, and related skills are full of applied learning. Yet that learning isn't always well met with what we or others were hoping to hear. To ignore learning, to cast it in a negative light, to avoid, impede, always cast mistrust at folks who work to include what they learn into making and collaborating. Any of those forms of punishing, any of those are forms of punishing learning. So I've learned enough in this 91 days so far of daily blogging that if I don't make use of what I'm learning, I won't be honoring this principle. What I've learned so far. Creative challenges are a great source of learning for me. And finding something worth learning in just about any situation is something I try to do. Facing creative hangups about writing. I can do the mechanics of all this. Write a thing, make a banner image, post it all in one day. Every step I face inner critique, dealing with that every day. I've adapted how I hear that inner critique. I can overcome the habit of starting multiple articles and stopping to then shift to a non-fear inducing topic. This is the single best, most huge thing. I didn't know if I'd overcome this in a year. It took about 70-ish daily posts to feel confident that I can pick a topic, and that will be my article. Also big, I can write in my own voice more rapidly with whatever topic I pick. This is something I've worked on for a long time. At some point, I decided to write enough like I have conversations. I'm not as fast as I was hoping to get, but I am faster. I can write about 500 to 700 words I'm comfortable with publishing in about 20 20 to 30 minutes. Editorial comment. That's when everything's going like super good. That's a great session. Not all sessions go exactly like that. Back to the article. There's an audience interested in my writing. People do like the variety of things I wish to write about. I see this in the site stats, comments, messages, and emails. It's worth making and sharing something frequently on a platform that's my own. People who visit the site via bookmark and or subscribe to the RSS feed get these posts with no platform bubble filter. I can take my work here and share it on other platforms, so this becomes my studio, and those places are appearances. Got a lot of practice with two helpful tools. Typora is a solid markdown editor that works well on Mac and Windows. Editorial comment. It's natural to mention tools, right? Where someone does a drawing, a lot of times a natural question is, oh, what marker did you use? What pencil? What paper is that? And the real story is being the person doing the act of the thing and what comes out. The story isn't the tools as much, but the tools are an invitation, and I think it's worth mentioning and sharing the tools as well. It's not that there's no value in it. It's just sometimes we get super distracted by, well, hey, what pencil did you use? Back to the article. Canva is useful, even though I have other tools like Affinity Designer and Clip Studio Paint, among others. Canva is so focused and fast to use with my preset fonts and colors. I use it for most of my post lead images, banners, figure images, and posts, and other personal life context. During the first few months of this year, Kate, I'm husband to Kate Shield-Stenzinger, editorial, was going through chemotherapy. Then a cancer-related surgery. 6 months of chemotherapy is seriously tough. I didn't receive the treatment, but it's super tough to watch your partner go through all that. Then in early February and early March, we received 2 giantly positive news and thresholds to get past in cancer treatment. Kate is now cancer-free. This daily challenge was an outlet for me to practice and believe in my own agency. It's not a prescription for you or anyone else. For me, having a place of positive energy to reach into, to practice, to fight through feeling bad, where because of my own agency and choice, I was able to make something I care about for a community I care about in ways that was leveling me up creatively. No doubt, to me, this daily blog was a kind of standing against cancer, making use of what I've learned so far. Editorial comment. This is connecting to the beginning. This is about, well, how do I not punish what I've learned and reward it? Back to the article. I'll be continuing to create articles, podcasts, workshops, and games. The writing experience of what will be 100 days in a row of blogging taught me to work with my own creative fears/demons differently than before. To really make use of it, though, I need to do some longer writing sessions. Not all those sessions will be immediately public. I trust I got this and won't fall into self-defeating habits of constantly moving the goals and criteria, other kinds of topic fears, where I do a lot of work and then shelve it, worried what other UX practitioners would think. Editorial note, UX, if that's a new thing for you, it's user experience design. the idea of being inclusive of an audience and what is their context and situation and their life and abilities and all that stuff that they care about, like, and how does what you make affect them. That's what UX design is about. It borrows from a variety of fields. Back to the article. I've learned that frequent blogging helps me I've learned that frequent blogging helps me, but feel daily is too frequent. It is holding back other work by being daily. My plan now is to publish every week, one post minimum, likely two. Far more frequent than other years I've blogged, about as frequent as I used to publish my webcomic, Art Geek Zoo. Are you rewarding learning? I do wish for everyone to be able to reward learning, not punish it. If you've learned from what you do, hopefully you can make use of that, of what you've learned in what you do next. And so there ends my second article reading of this session. Don't punish learning, reward learning as a principle. So that is, I think, where I'm going to wrap up today. And looking around at all the chat and situations and channel and stuff, I'm going to see if there's any other follow-up to do. And that is, okay, that's where we're at right now. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for, hanging out for these stories. And if you see this after the fact, because I do save this to my YouTube channel, super cool. You can always reach out, go to interactive-storyteller.com. You can go to the links page there and see all kinds of things I work on and stuff, the podcasts I mentioned and all that. It's like an easy, quick set of shortcuts. And then, of course, I mean, that's where the blog is. That's where my store is and all that stuff. And I would say, give that a look. Go to interactive-storyteller.com and connect with me, because there's also a comment page or a contact where you can just send me an email through the website. I would, I welcome it. Appreciate you being here. And I will see you next time, as I play the role of someone hanging up a Zoom, but not instantly, because I'm going to just say,